Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to decode the absolutely fascinating living machines that surround us every single day. We often just see them as green decorations in our homes or maybe outside our windows. But beneath the surface, they are incredibly complex systems. Okay, let's dive right into this by asking a couple of everyday questions that really reveal the hidden magic of nature. Have you ever wondered why a massive tree can just bend in a fierce windstorm without snapping right in half? Or think about this. What actually causes that loud, super satisfying crunch when you bite into a fresh carrot?
Well, the answers actually lie in the microscopic world inside the plant.
To truly get how plants work, it helps to use a grand building analogy. Imagine you're looking at a beautiful skyscraper, right? You see the shiny glass windows and the painted walls, but to know how that building actually stands up and functions, you gotta look past the surface. You have to see the hidden bricks, the steel beams, the plumbing pipes, the electrical wires. And honestly, plants are exactly the same way. Section 1, Anatomy versus Physiology, Hardware versus Software. So think of plant anatomy as the physical hardware. It's the study of the internal bricks and pipes, basically how cells and tissues are organized to give the plant its shape and its skeletal strength. On the flip side, we have plant physiology. If anatomy is the hardware, well, physiology is the software. It's the study of the actual life processes. It explains how a plant manages to breathe without lungs, eat without a mouth, and do all the chemical magic that literally keeps it alive. And the crucial takeaway here is that form fits function. A plant's anatomy is perfectly designed to support its physiological goals. Take a leaf, for instance. Why is it broad and flat? Well, that flat anatomical shape is perfectly structured to do one specific physiological job: catching as much sunlight as absolutely possible to turn it into food. The hardware is built explicitly to run the software. Moving on to Section 2, Everyday Plant Science, the kitchen to the garden. Now here's a fun one. What physically causes that satisfying crunch when you bite into a fresh carrot? It's a sensory experience we all know, right? But what is actually happening down at the microscopic level? Well, that pop is caused by something called Turgor pressure. This is the physiological magic of water pushing really, really hard against the plant's internal cell walls. When a carrot is fresh, its cells are completely packed with water, which creates this immense internal pressure. So, when your teeth finally break through those pressurized anatomical walls, snap, you get that incredible crunch. Or how about this? When you're cooking and you crush up some fresh mint or coriander, releasing that incredible room-filling aroma, what are you actually smelling in that moment? You're actually smelling highly concentrated oils that are stored inside microscopic hardware called glandular trichomes. These are basically tiny little storage containers sitting right on the surface of the plant's leaves. When you crush those leaves, you're physically breaking open these anatomical structures and releasing their physiological contents, those spicy, aromatic oils, right into the air. Here's another countertop mystery for you. What exactly is going on behind the scenes when a hard green banana magically softens up and turns bright yellow over a couple of days? This brilliantly illustrates hormonal physiology in action. You see, that ripening process, it isn't magic. It's actually driven by a gaseous plant hormone called ethylene. This invisible gas signals the cells to break down their acids, convert starches into sweet sugars, and change their color. It's literally the plant's internal software running a highly programmed ripening update. All right, Section 3, Solving Garden Mysteries, Science in Plain Sight.
If you want to see plant physiology happen right before your very eyes, you absolutely have to try this simple experiment. Take a clear plastic bag and tie it around a leafy branch in a garden on a nice sunny day. If you wait just an hour, you're going to see water droplets forming right inside the bag. You are actually witnessing the plant sweating in real time.
Now, this sweat is a process called transpiration, and it happens through tiny anatomical pores on the leaf called stomata. Just like we humans sweat to survive out in 35-degree heat, plants use these physical pores to exhale water vapor. That's a physiological process that cools the entire plant down. Pretty amazing, right? Have you ever noticed how a trimmed hedge at the park doesn't just die from being chopped up, but actually grows back thicker and bushier a few weeks later? So the cutting physically triggers a specific set of tissues called lateral meristems. These are anatomical growth tissues that exist in a constant state of cellular division. When the top of the plant is removed, these meristems just kick into overdrive. They allow the plant to rapidly heal and branch out sideways, which creates that really dense, bushy look. Let's look at one more everyday observation. When you eat a pear, why does it have that really unique, slightly sandy or gritty texture on your tongue, especially when you compare it to the smooth bite of an apple? That grit comes from anatomical structures called sclereids, which are often referred to as stone cells. These are actually dead cells with incredibly thick walls that are embedded right within the flesh of the fruit. Their function? To provide internal protection. So you are quite literally chewing on tiny bits of microscopic armor. Section 4. Growing your future, exams, careers, and climate. Now, this whole thing isn't just about memorizing facts for a quiz. It is about building a real foundation. Whether you're aiming for green careers in biotechnology, environmental science, or agriculture, or maybe you're tackling highly competitive national entrance exams like NEAT, BITSAT, ISIR, or NEST, mastering plant anatomy and physiology is absolutely essential. So the crucial point for these exams, and honestly for these scientific fields in general, is developing high-order thinking. Examiners, they're not going to just ask you to name a plant part. No way. They want you to link anatomical structures, like, say, the Casparian strip in a root, directly to its physiological function, like selective water transport. They want to see if you really understand how the hardware drives the software. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Can mastering this secret code of plants actually help us save the planet? Well, by understanding these living machines, we can engineer crops that withstand 45-degree heat to fight climate change. We can develop new plant-based medicines, and we can drive a sustainable circular economy. The answers to some of our absolute biggest global challenges are hidden right there in the leaves and the roots. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep looking closely at the world around you.